Margaret O'Connell had always kept her receipts in a shoebox under the bed. Not the grocery kind, those went straight to the bin, but the big ones. The $28,000 hospital copay when Medicare refused the experimental chemo. The $11,400 for the adjustable bed the VA wouldn't cover. The $3,200 for the wig that made her feel human again. She was 70, widowed, and, until 3 weeks ago, alive with stage 4 ovarian cancer. The doctors at Rush University Medical Center had given her months, maybe a year. She had responded by asking for the palliative care brochure and a printout of her trust balance. The trust had been her husband Patrick's idea. A retired CPD detective, he'd seen too many widows bankrupted by medical bills. When he died of a heart attack in 2018, he left her the bungalow in Beverly, a modest pension, and a revocable living trust seeded with $620,000 in Apple stock he'd bought in 2003 because the kids liked iPods. Margaret had never touched the principal. She lived on the pension and Social Security, paid the real estate taxes, and let the trust grow. Every quarter she received a glossy statement from Northern Trust showing the balance climbing. $641K, $687K, $703K. Until the statement that arrived on October 3rd. Balance, $298,412.17. She stared at the single sheet so long the paper trembled. Then she called the bank. Mrs. O'Connell, the vice president said, voice syrupy with pity, your daughter, Ms. Kimberly Walsh, has been making withdrawals as co-trustee since 2021. Perfectly legal under the amendment you both signed. Margaret had never signed an amendment. Kimberly arrived at the bungalow the next evening wearing a camel hair coat that cost more than Margaret's car. 38, divorced, child-free, and a senior associate at Baird & Warner's Gold Coast office. She sold $3 million condos to crypto bros and called it Tuesday. Mom, you look awful, she said, kissing the air beside Margaret's chemo-bald head. I brought Lou Malnati's. Margaret waited until Kimberly had poured herself a glass of the good Pinot Grigio, Patrick's bottle, saved for anniversaries, before sliding the forged amendment across the kitchen table. Kimberly's manicure froze midair. Where did you get that? Northern Trust. They faxed the signature page. That's my handwriting from 2018, but the date says 2021. And the notary, Margaret tapped the embossed seal, died in 2020. Kimberly set the glass down without drinking. Mom, you were sick. You asked me to handle things. I was in remission. I'd remember signing away $400,000. Kimberly's phone buzzed. She silenced it. Look, the money's an investment. Lakeview triplex, 3 flats, Airbnb goldmine. You'll get it back with interest. Margaret noticed the new Rolex Submariner. Patrick's had been stolen from a gym locker in 1995. Kimberly had cried for days. This one was identical, but the second hand swept instead of ticked. A $14,000 replica. How much did you take, Kimmy? A pause. Market soft. I needed liquidity. Margaret opened her laptop, an ancient Dell that wheezed like her lungs, and logged into the trust portal. 72 transactions. $25,000 to KW Consulting. $18,000 to Lakeview Holdings LLC. $9,500 to Cartier. She closed the lid. Get out. Kimberly's smile curdled. You're being dramatic. It's family money. It's my money. And you're stealing it while I'm dying. Kimberly stood so fast the chair scraped the linoleum Patrick had laid in 1987. Fine. Keep your precious trust. See how long you last without me paying Rush's bills. She left the pizza untouched. Margaret did not sleep. At 3:17 a.m. she emailed her estate attorney, Ruth Goldstein, Patrick's old partner from the public defender's office, now semi-retired and ferocious at 75. By 9 a.m. Ruth was at the kitchen table with a thermos of Dunkin' and a stack of forms. Irrevocable trust, Ruth said. Slam dunk. We move the remaining $298,000 into a new entity, charity of your choice, you as lifetime income beneficiary. Kimberly. Margaret O'Connell kept her receipts in a Red Wing boot box under the bed. Not the $3.29 for bananas, those went straight to the bin. She kept the big ones. $28,000 Medicare copay for the experimental PARP inhibitor. $11,400 for the hospital bed that hissed like a dying cat. $3,200 for the human hair wig that made her look less like a patient and more like the woman Patrick married in 1978. She was 70, widowed, and, until 3 weeks ago, alive with stage 4 ovarian cancer. Rush University Medical Center had upgraded her from months to maybe a year if the new trial holds. She had responded by asking for the palliative care brochure and a printout of her trust balance. The trust was Patrick's last gift. A retired CPD detective, he'd watched widows lose homes to one bad hospital stay. When he dropped dead of an aortic rupture in the Jewel-Osco parking lot in 2018, he left her the Beverly Bungalow, mortgage-free, a $2,100 monthly pension, a revocable living trust seated with $620,000 in Apple stock he'd bought in 2003 because the kids liked iPods. Margaret never touched principal. She lived on pension and Social Security, paid the $9,800 annual Cook County property tax, and let the trust compound. Every quarter Northern Trust mailed a glossy statement. Q1 2023, $687,112. Q1 2024, $703,884. Q3 2025, $298,412.17. She stared at the single sheet until the numbers blurred. Then she called the bank. Mrs. O'Connell, said Vice President Trent Halvorson, voice dripping Midwestern sympathy, your daughter, Ms. Kimberly Walsh, has been making withdrawals as co-trustee since 2021. Perfectly legal under the amendment you both signed. Margaret had never signed an amendment. Yesterday afternoon, my daughter Kimberly called me from the Gold Coast penthouse I never knew she bought. Her voice was champagne bubble bright until the concierge cut in, Ms. Walsh, your card's been declined for the $1,200 valet parking. Silence. Then the scream, MOM, what did you do? I was sitting in my bungalow kitchen, sipping Folgers from Patrick's chipped CPD mug, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 20 years, pure, glacial satisfaction. But to understand why I smiled at my own child's panic, you have to know what happened the night before, when Kimberly decided to gut me in front of her entire real estate team at the surprise client appreciation party in my own house. I'm 70. Widowed. Stage 4 ovarian cancer in watchful waiting. For the last 6 years, ever since Patrick's heart exploded in the Jewel-Osco lot, I've been Kimberly's private Goldman Sachs. Every closing gift, every Botox round, every soft launch pop-up for her Instagram brand came out of the trust Patrick built to keep me from dying bankrupt. I never said no. I told myself it was love. Then Thursday night happened. The party. Kimberly texted at 4 p.m., Mom, emergency, need the house for a client mixer. I'll pay for cleaners. I said yes before I finished reading. By 7 o'clock the bungalow was wall-to-wall Lululemon and Rolex. I wore the same black dress I buried Patrick in. Kimberly handed me a tray of Costco crab puffs and whispered, play Grateful Grandma, okay? Investors love the family angle. At 9:15 the open bar loosened tongues. Kimberly clinked her glass, my crystal from Ireland, and toasted. To the best silent partner a girl could ask for, Mom's Trust Fund. Laughter. Phones up. Then she leaned into her managing broker and stage whispered. Honestly, the old bat's just a human pin code at this point. We keep her alive, we keep the cash flowing. I stood there with the empty tray, crab grease cooling on my fingers, and felt every dollar I'd ever given her crystallize into a single, icy decision. The night I took it back. I couldn't sleep. Not from the cancer, this was sharper. At 2:03 a.m. I opened the Dell Patrick hated, it's slower than traffic on the Dan Ryan, Maggie, and logged into Northern Trust. 72 withdrawals. $25,000 to KW Consulting. $18,000 to Lakeview Holdings LLC. $9,500 to Cartier. $47,000 to Airbnb Furnishings, Rush Delivery. Total, $404,587.83 gone. I called Ruth Goldstein, Patrick's old partner, now 75 and meaner than a junkyard dog. She answered on the second ring. Ruth, I need an irrevocable trust drafted by Sunrise. Charity beneficiary. Me as lifetime income. Kimberly gets nothing until she's buried beside me. Ruth didn't ask why. She just said, send me the statements. I'll have the courier at your door by 5 o'clock. At 4:55 I canceled every card with Kimberly's name on it. At 5:03 I poured myself the Stag's Leap Patrick never got to drink and toasted the silence. The phone calls. 9:17 a.m. Kimberly, Mom, the penthouse concierge says my black Amex is dead. Fix it. Me, good morning, Kimmy. How was the valet humiliation? Her, this isn't funny. I have a $3.2 million closing today. Me, use your commission. You've earned plenty on my money. 9:41 a.m. Her managing broker, Mrs. O'Connell, Kimberly's distraught. She says you've had a psychotic break. Me, tell her the break happened when she called me a human pin code on TikTok Live. 10:12 a.m. Unknown number, her divorce lawyer, we can file for guardianship by noon. Erratic financial decisions are textbook incompetence. Me, tell Kimberly the new trust is locked tighter than Fort Knox. And I've got a psych eval scheduled for 11 o'clock, voluntary. The doorstep. 11:47 a.m. Doorbell. Kimberly, Mascara Street, holding a Starbucks cup she couldn't pay for. Behind her, 2 uniformed CPD officers and a social worker clutching a clipboard. Mom, open up. We're doing this for your own good. I opened the door holding Ruth's courier envelope and a fresh psych report stamped mental capacity, full. Officer Ramirez, Patrick's old beat partner's son, read the room in 3 seconds. Ma'am, do you feel safe? Safer than I've felt in 6 years, Jimmy. Kimberly lunged for the envelope. I let her grab it. She ripped it open, scanned the first page, and the color drained from her face like cheap wine down a sink. Irrevocable trust. Beneficiary, Chicago Women's Cancer Shelter. Lifetime income, Margaret O'Connell. Successor trustee, Ruth Goldstein, ESQ. Kimberly Walsh, contingent remainder, $1 upon proof of 5 years financial independence. She looked up. You can't. That's my inheritance. No, sweetheart. It's my life savings. And you already spent your inheritance on handbags. The twist. That night I couldn't sleep again, this time from adrenaline. I opened the ring app Patrick insisted on, so I can see who's stealing your Amazon packages, Maggie. Archived footage, September 14th. Kimberly in my bedroom at 2:14 a.m., phone flashlight on, photographing my signature from an old birthday card. Then September 16th, her at a Kinko's, feeding the card into a scanner. Then September 18th, her laughing with a notary who did die in 2020, timestamped before his death. I forwarded the clips to Ruth with a single line. Add felony forgery to the guardianship filing. Let's bury her in discovery. The aftermath. 3 days later, Kimberly's brokerage license was suspended pending investigation. Her penthouse went into contract, short sale. She showed up at the bungalow with a duffel bag and tears. Mom, I can't make rent. Please. I handed her a printout. Studio apartment, South Shore, $800 per MO, Section 8 eligible. You're 40. You have a job. Figure it out. She cried harder. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. You meant every word. now live with it. I closed the door. Locked it. Turned off the porch light Patrick installed in 1987. The cruise. A week later I was on a Great Lakes cruise with Ruth and 3 other widows who'd cut off their kids. We drank wine on the deck while the Chicago skyline shrank to a glitter. Ruth raised her glass. To women who finally learned the word no at 70. I clinked. And to daughters who learn it costs more than they ever imagined. Epilogue, 1 year later. The cancer stable. The shelter broke ground on a new wing named after Patrick. Kimberly sends a card every birthday, store-bought, no cash inside. Last week she texted. Closed my first deal without your money, $1.8 million. Commission $54,000. Paid rent early. I replied. Proud of you. Coffee next week? You're buying. She answered with a thumbs up emoji. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted the thread, poured Patrick's mug full of Folgers, and watched the sunrise over the bungalow he left me. For the first time in 6 years, the house was paid for. And so was I. The moral of the inheritance that wasn't is simple, sharp, and non-negotiable. Love is not a blank check. Generosity without boundaries is just slow-motion theft. Your money, your health, and your dignity are not family resources, they are yours to protect, especially from the people who call you mom. In the end, the kindest thing you can do for an entitled adult child is to let them feel the full weight of their own choices. Anything less keeps both of you chained to a lie.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. Watch the full video for more details.